Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to lesson 9.1.3 on analyzing 575. So when we hear secondary dominant, it primes our ears to hear the next chord as a temporary tonic. That's exactly what its job is. It's kind of serving as a temporary dominant to a temporary tonic. When this is brief, like in the examples we've seen, then it's just called a tonicization. You're briefly pretending that this chord is tonic, and you're making it sound like that for a very short amount of time. If that chord starts to sound like tonic for a long period of time, that's something different called modulation, which we'll worry about in the next unit. But when you're analyzing, so here we have a song by Stephen Foster called Jeannie with the Light Brown Hair. I dream of Jeannie with the light brown hair, born like a vapor on the summer air. I see her, da 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 da. I don't know how it goes. But we're going along. We have two bars of literally the tonic chord just repeated over and over. Move to a 6/4 predominant. And then we have a root position 1 chord, but we're already in the predominant, so we're not going back at this point. Then we have our 5, 7, and 5. And as I'm looking and analyzing, something that immediately sticks out to me is that accidental. That tells me that something is going on here. And because really, I guess like some 7 diminished chords and 5, 7 in minor, but most chords that we've looked at so far don't have accidentals. So if we're in a section on 5, 7, and 5, that's probably going to be a 5, 7, and 5 chord. And in fact it is, because it's G7 going to C, 5, 7, and 1 in the key of C, and we've analyzed it like that. 5, 7, and 5 going to 5, all dominant, it's a half cadence, next phrase starts on tonic. Beautiful. So when you have a half cadence like that is preceded by a secondary dominant, we call it a tonicized half cadence, because you're tonicizing that 5 chord at the end of the cadence. You can also use 5, 7, and 5 to expand the dominant area. You can have like 1, 5, 1 in the middle of the tonic phrase. Keep 5, 5, 7, 5, 5 in the middle of the dominant part of the phrase. So here we have Mozart Rondo for horn and orchestra. I'll just play the piano part. And temporarily, this sounds like tonic, but E flat is actually the key of the piece, and that's where we started out. That A natural is what makes it a secondary dominant, resolving to our 5 tonicized half cadence. Speaking of cadences, you can also turn your secondary dominants into cadential 6/4 chords. So here we have just different ways of notating that. My hand is not quite big enough to hit that, sorry. One more time. There we go. So, simple little progression, 1 to 4, and then we have a cadential 6/4. We keep that. If we think of that as 1, then this would be 5. If we think of G as 1, then D is 5. We have a 6/4 resolving down to 7, and then resolving to G. So you could just notate 5, 6, 4 up 5, 5, 7 up 5, going to 5. That's one option. Option B would be to write it out like a normal cadential 6/4 and then just put a bracket of 5 underneath going to 5. Or you could say, you could also include this under your of 5 and say it's your 1 of 5, which would just be 5. Any of these are valid. If I'm doing it, I would probably choose B, but that's just like a personal aesthetic sort of thing. So that is what is going on there. Yep. So do some exercise, and I'll see you next time.